Perfect. Well, really awesome to see everyone in here again. I'm always looking forward to these. It's just like so much fun to have this like instant live interaction with all you guys. I really appreciate everyone showing up and listening to us for 45 minutes to an hour. So that's really fun. For a project update, I gotta rack my brain a little bit, Mike, because like there's just so much going on at the same time.
There is, and there's stuff you can't always talk about. Like there's cool new stuff coming maybe for the holidays. I mean, there's just so much stuff.
It's actually, I had an interview with with a podcast earlier, and he asked like, "Oh, is there some cool stuff that you can announce?" And I was like, "There's a lot of cool stuff, and it's actually really painful not to be able to tell." So, how many things do we have that are cool? At least three or four that are amazing. That are two that are extremely amazing that will be coming before too long, and then two that are quite amazing as well. So we have some really exciting stuff going on. But what we've been focusing on as a team is it's been all hands on deck, essentially on the hardware side to make sure everything is flawless for starting shipping out both the GeoSigner, but also after Christmas, we want to start shipping out, or after the first of the year, start shipping out the new devices that are manufactured by HiFix, the GeoNet devices. So we've been working a lot on that. That's been going really well. We focused a lot on tokenomics, because I think what we mentioned in the past is that we have seen it's been unbalanced in some aspects between different areas, different type of providers. We're also looking at how to budget and implement the lower altitude bonus rewards. So like if you get like low altitude airport coverage, that's really valuable for us, and that should reflect in the rewards. So we're working on that. Been spending a lot of time essentially network planning, and what I mean by that is we have a domain expert on part of our team now, and we've been really outlining the areas globally where the customer need is highest, to start mapping out for both for marketing campaigns, but also for potential, bounty areas or regional rewards. Spending a lot of time there. We've onboarded quite a few people, so since it was, really me and Alex and Mike, and then Max was in it for a long time. It was a super small team, and then really quickly now we're 14 people. So when you grow quite fast, there's obviously it changes the dynamic of how you work, where 60% is remote, the rest is on site here at the office, and getting all those the ways of working kind of figured out in a good way. That's something we're working on now as well. So it's really fun. It's all fun challenges as we've grown really, really quickly. On the sales, on the station side, I think we're seeing about 10 to 15 a day on average. I think by the time we hit, middle of Q1, probably have at least 4,000 stations globally, not the new ones, but in total. I think we've sold maybe 1,500 to 1,750-ish, somewhere in that range. So that's going to be really exciting from a network perspective. It's going to really allow us to monetize at an even faster rate. Really our main goal, based on the current distribution, is to reach somewhere around 7,500 to 10,000 to be at or very near global coverage. And that's the point when we can start really executing a lot faster on our customer pipeline, which is quite significant. So hopefully we can reach that throughout next year. That would be amazing. And then there's a lot of legal stuff. When you work in Web3 in multiple countries, and the regulation is not, I would say, great. No one really knows what's going on. We're working with lawyers on, feel like, every continent to make sure that we do everything by the book, and that for essentially to ensure the safety of the project. Because whatever we screw up doesn't just affect us; it affects everyone in the project, everyone in the team, investors. So we have quite a big responsibility there to make sure we do everything right. So spending a lot of time there. But yeah, I think that's a quick summary. I'm really sad I can't go into the cool announcements, but
well,
they will come before too long.
I can add slightly. So just to clarify, Robin talked about the that we're selling the device and we're shipping them out. Just to be perfectly clear, we actually don't sell them. We're talking about we as, I guess, a whole, including distributors and the manufacturer. They're going to be the ones shipping it out, not us. They're going to be the ones that are selling it, not us.
Good point, Mike.
Just don't want us to send out mixed messages, because I think a lot of people had an expectation or an understanding that we were kind of running everything. And obviously we do work with HiFix. Obviously we are working with testing and everything else, but we are not behind enemy lines trying to handle everything. They're handling, I shouldn't call them enemy. That was the wrong terminology. We're not on the front lines is what I really tried to say. We're not on the front lines trying to manufacture ourselves or handle sales or anything. Luckily we have bunch of distributors that are handling it for HiFix, and we do coordinate stuff with them, but we are not on the front lines with them necessarily.
Thanks for clarifying, Mike. That's a good point.
And and the GeoSigner stuff, I know people are probably interested in that. Quick update: we continue to enhance the frequently asked question for GeoSigners on the doc site. More recently, we added customs related information there. It was a question or a big concern on a lot of people's minds, like how do you handle customs? Who's going to pay for what? I urge anybody that's waiting for a GeoSigner and has one coming to go check out that FAQ and read it. It explains the information that we have right now from third-party logistics regarding how customs are handled for different areas. Some countries we can't do anything about. We have to just ship it. We pay for the shipping. We're obviously covering the cost of the GeoSigner unless someone purchased that. So it is a customs country related policy on how that's handled. But for a large number, a vastly large number of the GeoSigners, they're handled in, I don't remember the term, our hardware guy could tell me, but basically they are handled automatically up front and pre-cleared so that you don't have to do anything. They just end up showing up on your doorstep. And some of the shipping times are actually reasonably short. Unless you're in a crazy far off country and the customs may be a blocking issue, most people should be able to receive it once it's shipped within, 5 to 10 days or so. Realistically, we'll see how holidays and anything else affects that, but that's good information that's up on the FAQ now. And then finally, Robin didn't mention, but we mentioned before that the dashboard is undergoing an update as well. I know a lot of you guys use that to see how your rewards are going or to check on your station status, stuff like that. There's definitely a upcoming enhancement to all of that, and we hope to have everybody see it soon. So that's
going to be pretty sweet. Cool.
All right. Should we move into the frequently asked questions? The AMA questions. Yeah.
Let's do it.
If you want, Robin, this is our first time. We're kind of learning. I still have them up on that page I linked you, and I can just walk through them and tell you who asked the question and fire them away to you unless you defer to me.
Yeah, let me open up the link because I don't have that link open. Unless you want to read them out loud.
I was going to read them out loud because the people on YouTube won't know.
That's true. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, first question we have is really a dual question between two people. So I'm lumping them together. Justin Gacek and Costa 3227 both had a question related to basically, do you have any current paying customers, or what kind of potential customers or companies or authorities would you be trying to sell the data to? And do you feel you have enough data currently with the do-it-yourself stations to attract customers now?
Okay, so yeah, two parts. First part, yes, we do have some paying customers, but since we can't tie in the second part, we really need to reach global coverage to really get a larger amount of customers. We do have enough data for some use cases right now. Generally, we have enough data if we function as a complement to their existing data stream, because we have a different network. On average, our network is way more optimized than the competitor. So what the current customers use it for is essentially they take their existing data stream and they take our data stream and they fuse them. And because we have better stations and better coverage in many areas, it allows them to create a more complete data set. But we don't have enough devices with the build your own only to generate substantial enough revenue to where we need to be. So that's kind of, I guess, the answer.
Fair enough. All right. Well, this question was unfortunately asked by Mike at Wingbits, me. So I put it in the feedback site originally just to have a post, but then it started getting upvoted and ended up being the second highest upvoted. So I'm going to spring it on you anyway. Can you list, and I'm just going to say 3, can you list 3 maybe core items that Wingbits wants to accomplish in Q1? Or more, if you have more.
Well, one is obviously mainnet. That's the biggest focus for us right now. And to accomplish that, it goes into point 2 of what we need to accomplish is producing a really well-balanced tokenomics and have a very good token value flow that can be sustainable over a very long time. So those 2 are prio. And the third one is, of course, seeing that the hardware is being delivered properly and that it works as great as it has in testing and that people are happy with it. Those are my main 3 things for Q1. Nothing else I'd say comes to that importance level.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think mainnet and the items that help support us get there and do it securely is obviously forefront of our minds.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. DevOps in space has a question. What does the timeline look for mainnet launch? And just to remind everybody, not all these people are potentially in Discord. They're not watching all the announcements, and they're potentially not ever on Discord. So they could just ask a question here. So we want to make sure that this AMA type stuff handles these questions for people who aren't keeping up with the project or don't use our primary communication form, which is Discord. But what does the timeline look like for mainnet launch? Will Wingbits still be in testnet when the WB200 and MGW310 start shipping?
So the goal, let's say now I got confused myself, but for the hardware device side, the goal is to have everything out like GeoSigner and start shipping the Geodent devices like WB200 and 310 before mainnet. In terms of timeline on the mainnet, for that to reasonably happen, since we know now like the GeoSigner is super close to actually start shipping out, maybe we'll share a sneak peek of the packaging here on Discord. It looks awesome. And we know that from what we hear from a manufacturer of the GeoNet kind of devices, that's all on track for January. I would say middle to late Q1 is more reasonable for mainnet than beginning of Q1, simply because we need to have the network secured minimum on the build your own devices before we go to mainnet.
Yeah, following along that without asking another question, part of that time is obviously the fact that we want to allow people to have time to onboard the GeoSigners, and we previously said we'll give you a time period to onboard them. The 90 days that we said originally may be a little bit too long. We're evaluating stuff like that. But the idea is we have to pad in some time there for you not only to receive it, but for you to, potentially climb up on your roof or to talk to the host that you shipped it to and explain to them how difficult it is to plug a USB device into a USB port. Sometimes if I asked one of my family members, it would probably take a good half-hour call. That and all the updates on the family that I'd have to endure just to have them plug something in. So
Yeah,
we have to build
exactly.
that stuff in. Next question. We'll handle a few more of these. I'm going to try to knock it to an end at 11 minutes from now, just so we can carry on with the open Q&A. But we'll see how many we can get through. Tonic 9663 is asking, in your roadmap, you show expected future features such as estimated time of arrival. Can you provide an update on features such as this and how you expect to innovate and differentiate Wingbits from existing ADSB networks?
Yeah, so we're currently working on a new roadmap. We wished it would have been out sooner, but we've had other things that are exciting that I can't talk about today, but I will announce probably within the next weeks. So how we differentiate ourselves already on the network side is one, obviously the model is simply better in terms of incentive. We actually got we will add this to the website later on too, but we got a benchmark today on the average station coverage between our network and the other large networks, and it is not even close. Pretty much 50% of the other networks devices are on the performance level of like an indoor antenna. So that's like a clear differentiator already. The fact that, okay, each device on average is much better, it captures more data points, it covers more area. We also have a much better way of growing in specific areas, thanks to the model. But then on the infrastructure side or the device side, when the geosigners are out and these other devices, together with GeoNet, are out, will be the only flight tracking network that can cryptographically sign the data. So essentially, we can validate that the data is coming from a particular device. And we'll be the only network that has an actual proof of location on the devices, which is super important when you need to triangulate signals, which is, we're going to enable MLAT at some point, needed for that. But also, there's a really big problem in the space with spoof data. So essentially what happens is like they target a plane with spoof data. The plane doesn't know where it is. It sends out a location, maybe saying it's location X. But we can triangulate on our stations and say, okay, well, it's saying it's in location X, but we can actually see that it's in location Y. And that's much more accurate when you have a proof of location. So that's how we differentiate ourselves in the tracking space. And with global coverage, we're literally like, it's not even close. We're so much better on every aspect. We're going to be able to take a large market share just based on that. And our customers, they will be the ones that mainly build analytics tools or prediction models on top of this data. Not saying that we will never go into that, but we have to be really good at something first. And it makes more sense to be really good at aggregating the data in a good way and selling the data, as there's very low competition, but there's very massive demand of people that want the data. So that's the better start. When we're really good at that, and we have essentially proven that, okay, now we have global coverage, we have great data, we sell a lot of it, then we can go in to look at the different analytics products, because they're pretty complex when you start diving into it. So this will all be reflected in a new roadmap, kind of on the focus side.
Cool. And for anybody who wants to get in the weeds a little bit, I think a lot of people glaze over the proof of location, potentially not understanding how cool of an impact that is versus how things are done now. I'd love to have a conversation if anybody wants in a regular Discord, like general chat or something, at a time after the stage. But it is pretty cool how the proof of location via GPS and signing that data makes us far more efficient at being able to do stuff in the future, like MLAT, versus how it's being done now. So if anybody wants to have a conversation, I'm open to it. Hit me up. Tonic, let's see, we answered that. So on to our very own and currently present in the stage 12083 DBM. 120 wants to know, does Wingbits have a dedicated team of developers, even if it's just a team of one, who work on the station operator UI in other words, the dashboard, or is there any work done there by developers with other responsibilities?
Yeah, so on the UI side, we actually now, so total dev team is like 6 people now. But until very recently, most of them have been on the back end and the data side. We have now put one more focus on the front end side, but we also have a agency that we work with for the UI. And in January, we'll have another dedicated developer joining the team that's only going to be focused on the UI community facing kind of platform side.
Yeah. I hope that answered it. Candroid wants to know about copyrights or patents. Just throwing this out there. How are you protected from someone else copying the Wingbits platform? Are there any patents or copyrights?
We just have right now submitted for a patent pending on one thing, but on the platform side, on the reader speed, we can't patent everything, but we have one patent out now that's going to be patent pending. So hopefully, I'll be done in. I think the law firm said about 9 months we should have an answer. But as long as it's patent pending, it's from the date you filed.
Cool. I'm going to do one more and then we'll open up to the stage for questions and answers. I think that'll get us about halfway through the existing list. And this one might take a few seconds to answer. Gacho 1855 was asking about bounties. Bear with me, Robin. I don't know if you can read at the same time, but try. Here we go. Have you thought about creating a fun bounty reward system where users could be rewarded in badges or wing tokens or something if their hotspot accomplished certain tasks? For example, if the station has seen more than 100 airplanes at once, or seen 10 military airplanes at once, or tracked an airplane for at least 100 nautical miles. You could create all kinds of criteria that people could try to achieve and get rewarded for. I do like this. It would be a fun competition, and it would most likely get users in the community to improve their hotspot setup. Thoughts on that, Robin?
We have not necessarily those exact use cases, but yes, we are currently evaluating like how to best do bounties, achievements, leaderboards with different type of streaks. On the leaderboard side, for example, it's important to take into consideration that as sometimes you're limited based on where you live. So there needs to be various things you can achieve. For example, if you can't physically achieve the most coverage or the most planes due to where you live, maybe you can win another streak. For example, like longest time online or first person in a specific area. So we are thinking about all that stuff. There's going to be different type of gamification features introduced on the platform over the next few months. They're going to be really, really fun. So yeah, definitely thought about it. Bounty areas as well. Those have, range from different regions. If we have a customer, requesting a specific region, maybe it's a deployment, or maybe it's like if you cover that area in a specific way, maybe like altitude based, or like very granular area. Maybe like there's a crazy bounty if someone can be creative enough to get that device inside the airport on the fire station or on some type of warehouse. Maybe that's a super good bounty. So we're thinking about it, but we haven't, finalized anything yet.
Yeah. I'm going to call an audible. I'm going to ask one more question just because it is a very common question and having it here on the recording may help. Helium Donnie is asking, is it a good location? All right, let me rephrase it. Is it best to be near a busy airport for your location, or would a location in the middle of nowhere with little air traffic overhead also work? Basically, what in the project's mind, what would be an ideal location? And I know we've said it many times before, but at least this will be here forever on this video.
So it depends, but that's also, I want to preface this with we are reworking the tokenomics. Because for a specific airport, if it's a really big airport, it's busy, and we don't have coverage on the ground, it is very valuable for us to get coverage on low altitude on an airport. But also, if we don't have anyone in the area, it's completely empty, that also adds a lot of value. currently, with the model is right now, it is better for you to go in the empty area. Our goal with the balancing of the tokenomics is that it should also be very worth your while to go on a busy airport, even if there's people around, if you get specific altitude data points.
That's exactly where I wanted the answer to go. Perfect. All right. Well, we got through that, guys. Everybody, round of applause for ourselves. Now on to open questions, I guess. So we've already got a few in Discord. I am having to move my camera because I'm not even using it. It's blocking Discord chat. Do you see first one, Robin?
Yeah. I'm reading Handsome Rob right now.
Okay.
Is a station in a less densely populated area? Fewer stations, fewer flights.
Basically the same question.
Yeah, so I kind of answered that question. Handsome Rob, was my previous answer kind of good enough to cover your question? Okay, perfect. Thank you. Ghost. Invoice. Yes, let's see. No, the geofile was free, but my country, not Europe. Post office invoice. Yeah, can you please open a ticket, Ghost, and I can help you with that.
And check in case you haven't, please double check the frequently asked question doc page for the new custom stuff. It may already be answered there. If it's not, definitely open a ticket and we'll figure it out.
Yep. Thanks, Grumpy, for jumping in there. Hello, Fachos. Great to have you. Will a 310 miner be eligible for bonus rewards since its ability to provide RTK location data? So it will not get more rewards than the other stations in the network. If we implement certain bounty areas that are very, very granular, and we need a specific accuracy on the location, they may only be available for those miners. But besides that, we wanted them to be equal. And that's why, obviously, we're securing the existing devices with the GPS and cryptographic chip dongle to kind of cover that as well.
And I guess you could say, as you said, eligible for bonus rewards. I mean, it is also participating on the GeoNet network, so you do have a bonus there in that you're earning rewards on another project at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it just won't be earning more compared to another device if they have the same performance on the Wingbits side. Let's see. Alpine. Given the device is designed to be outside, can you indicate the expected lifespan in full sun? I could not. I think that's a much better question for HiFix to ask them, because they have devices now. They know how they're making this exactly, because I don't know, and I couldn't give you an answer that I knew was right.
But having said that, if you're talking about keeping the unit inside, so I guess that would depend on how your installation plan would go. Like if you are going to run an antenna out the side via cable and put it up, say on a tower or up on your roof or something, your idea is to run the base inside. That could potentially negatively impact its ability to GPS lock and provide accurate data. It would, of course, depend on what you're saying by inside. Like in your basement, probably not going to work. If you're talking about like, I'd like to put it in the sunroom while I run an antenna, through the screen or whatever and up on the roof, then I guess that is potentially an option. But keep in mind the unit itself, that spaceship looking thing with an antenna on top. There is the antenna on top for ADS-B, but the unit itself has obviously an antenna inside as well for GPS. So that has to be somewhere that it can get a lock.
Perfect. Yeah. Let's see, where are we at?
Well, we could say hi back to Fachos. Hey.
Hello. Thanks for the wave. Is this your first time in here, Fachos, or no? I don't see a green little thing, so you doesn't look new. Handsome Rob. for the high-fix devices, do you foresee any potential need in the future for a newer, better antenna, and will the antenna be upgradable? Since we actually, in the process here, we started with an antenna and then we actually ended up upgrading it throughout the process, because the first version, the antenna itself that goes on the device, wasn't good enough. I don't foresee needing a better antenna unless you want to go way out of your way and have some custom antenna that you like. But they will be upgradable, or you can plug it into the side, like Mike mentioned last question. If you want to have your own antenna, you can actually run it out a different port on the side of the device.
And furthermore, if you really want to go crazy, not that I'm suggesting anybody should, they should probably just put it up and see how it works. But there is the opportunity to not only connect an antenna on the side and run your own LMR 600 or whatever crazy stuff you've got going to the antenna up on the 300-foot tower you have, but you could also bypass the LNA and filter that's on board and use your own external amp and filter. So there is the ability to kind of customize this stuff, but I think the ready to run version that the participants will receive is a very valid unit in itself that doesn't require you to go crazy. I know a lot of people are always looking to min max, and I see it every day on Discord where someone's like, well, I have this SDR, but what happens if I add a amp on there? What happens if I add an amp and a filter? What happens? I mean, in this case, I think the GeoNet, the high-fix devices should be pretty good as they come. I don't expect that anyone would need to really enhance them unless you're in a very unique situation.
Yeah, good point. Gordon, Robin said that Wingbits will need 7.5 to 10K stations to get global coverage, but isn't it also important where the stations will actually be set up? Any particular areas, regions we need to focus on? Yes, you're 100% right. And the reason why I'm estimating in between there is based on us knowing that we will run specific, to take specific actions to promote specific areas. So for now, if I could just make a wish and get some areas really quick, it would be all of Middle East. It's super important because pretty much if you look from Europe, southeastern Europe, kind of from Turkey, and you draw kind of a belt from Turkey over Middle East and down to Southeast Asia, that entire region is super important. So we will be definitely focusing there. South America will also be quite important, specific areas there. Africa is where no one has good coverage there, so it's important for that reason, but it's not as important for commercial traffic because there's not as much there. But yes, it's if we have all 10,000 in Europe and US only, we will not have global coverage. So that's kind of how I based my estimate on. So hope that kind of answered your question.
Yeah, wasn't it something like basically 3,500 stations, if placed properly, would cover the entire globe? But obviously, we're not going to get that. So,
yeah, exactly. I mean, because if everything is perfect, yeah, you can theoretically cover all of Earth, land-wise, not water, with about 3,000 to 3,500 stations. Mike, do you want to take cello?
I can try to take cello. Cello, let's go. No, I'm just kidding. 2 of my BYOD stations are offline at the moment, and I can't travel to them in the next days. What can I do? I don't want to lose the hex. They don't send data for more than 30 days. Good question, Cello. I mean, this would obviously be something to discuss with us in a ticket if you'd like. We can go through it with you to see if there's anything we can do. It's one of the reasons, like at least for the BYOD, there's been a stronger push over the project duration, excuse me, to get remote software such as Tailscale or something on the station so that we can like remotely, not we as the project, but we as participants can remotely connect to them and adjust or figure out or debug what's going on. Obviously, hardware failure is a completely different beast. I've seen people, and I'm not going to say names or anything, but there's been tickets. People have had simple things such as my parents just unplugged the device because they didn't think it was worth having plugged in. Like you can't fix that via remote control software. You literally have to pick up the phone and go, stop unplugging my device, please.
Yeah, but just open a ticket, and I'm sure it will be no problem. Donnie, I'm glad you got the sound working. That's awesome. Indian Dark Horse. I guess a video or a bunch of pictures are on its way for the geosigner parts of doc site. Yeah, so Mike, we actually just talked about this in the team meeting. We will create. Obviously, we will come out with some images on the packaging and the geosigner and some release material. We will also have some onboarding material to explain how to install it and how to do it. Hopefully, both in a video and documentation format. So that will come.
Yeah, we've had several updates, like the ones that we had posted before in the white stuff, on the white background. Some of that stuff we took, but there's been production or pre-production models since, and there's been a bunch of cool pictures that we've seen. The downside is like there's always, since it's in pre-production, things we're still being worked out. Like it didn't always feel like something we'd want to share because perhaps the case, the enclosure around it is clear and not the expected color with our logo or something. So there were all these little gotchas that we didn't want to post it out, and then people be like, "What? That's not what you talked about before." So we're trying to get something now that is basically the production version, so you can see what you got coming to you. Is there a way?
Mike, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Alpine, is there a way to see how much data each unit in a general area uses per month? Trying to work out options for remote stations where regular data is not available. I've seen estimates from 20 gigs to 200 gigs. Yes, you have. So there's not a great way. You can, if you have a station up, obviously you can find out pretty quickly. You can go to Graphs 1090. You can look down at the in-out network data chart and see like what's my average, and then go to Google and ask it to convert it to gigabytes per month. That's actually in our frequently asked questions, the main frequently asked questions on the doc site. There's a example on how to do that. But the problem is if you're not in an area yet, like you're looking for host locations and you want to know like how many gigs am I going to use up there? There's not a great way right now. I wish I could give you a better answer, Alpine. I mean, short of just maybe pinging in Discord and saying, hey, is anybody in this general area? How much data are you using per month? Gosh, I don't have a great answer. I wish I did. Just ask in Discord, see if someone can do it. I mean, it sucks because it's just such a crazy thing to like estimate. And you don't know. I can tell you mine is reasonably busy, somewhat near the Atlanta airport in the US. And I'm doing, I don't remember, about 800 to 900 messages per second. We don't have interrogations down here. And I'm doing like 40 some odd gigs a month, 60 gigs a month is what I'm doing. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. I'm sure Grumpy here could probably give out all kinds of different numbers from around the US and Gulf of Mexico.
And also on that point, it is in the plan to compress the data over time and get the usage down.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was in the back of my head. I didn't want to say that. So Robin said it.
Yeah, it is. It's just a lot. And there are ways to get it down. It's just that, priorities. We, should we focus on mainnet or should we focus on compressing the data? Probably better mainnet right now, because it's actually, you have to essentially redo the entire ingestion flow in the back end to do it. So it's work, but we know what we need to do it. So it's coming.
Okay.
Cool. Let's see.
By the way, Fachos, it was his first stage, so.
Oh, nice. Thanks for joining, Facho. Trying to look here. Okay.
Honest.
Yeah. Is there an option to move current station to another location, which is not as congested as the current location? Sorry, I haven't searched Discord yet. Yes, if the other location is not claimed. So you can just actually edit your location on your dashboard, move the station, and it just moves it. It's automatic, and then you obviously will lose the current hex it's in, because that one will open up. That's correct, right, Mike? I didn't say anything untrue.
No, that's correct. It's on the stations page on the dashboard, and I think if you look to the right, it's the one of the three icons. I think it's the one that looks like a notepad with a pen or something next to the bell icon, which is for notifications.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Yeah, we need more people in middle of Australia. So if you can host there, I don't know what's there, but please do. Jugi? This has been partially answered, but from rewards points, is a station alone in 3,000-mile area in Africa better reward than station in Europe? I mean, like I said, we are... So essentially the goal of balancing the tokenomics is that if you have a really, really good station in an area that is saturated, you should still be treated as a really good provider, and the rewards should reflect that. Currently, and in the future, it will always be good to be first in an area. Like, it will never be bad to be in the alone area in Africa. So I'd say based on, that, if you can get it to Africa right now, I would.
If you ask Grumpy, he'd have you on a plane right now.
Yeah.
Sitting right next to you. Exactly. Come on, you need help? We'll go down there.
Yeah. But for now, before we come up with new details on the updated tokenomics, like empty area or being first in an area will never be bad.
Yeah, I know some people have figured this out obviously over time, but the way that, at least for the current rewards formula, is it kind of has a baked in bounty. So if you're first to an area, you basically get a boost, a bonus, because you're not sharing with anybody else. So it's definitely a thing to do if you can do it. I unfortunately am not in that position. So good luck to you guys that are.
Are you happy for them, Mike?
I mean, I'm happy for anybody who adds a station. Maybe a little envious, but I'm happy. I think it'd be so cool if I could put a station in the middle of nowhere where no one else has it, and then just see what I can do as far as coverage and everything else. It would be cool because you're I don't have to worry about splitting it with other people, and not from just a rewards perspective, but I could see the coverage chart on the map, grow all the hexes. It would just be a fun endeavor. Unfortunately, right now, there's a limited number of places you can go do that. And I'm not getting on a plane to go do it myself right now. I'm a little busy.
Yeah. Let's see. Gordon, is there any other way to improve one's Wingbits rank other than setting up more stations and or improving the performance of existing stations? Right now, those are the two main things. Honestly, either, moving it to a better area based on, being empty, or just improving it. Those are the two ways currently. What the plan is long term is to be able to get insights on your individual stations and to see, okay, well, what can you do for your station to improve? And obviously, long term, it would be amazing if you can actually have those even more intelligence insight coming, and you can actually allow the station to auto adjust based on what's going on in the area to optimize your rewards. That's more of a dream scenario, but we will have basic insights coming based on your station, what you can do to improve it at some point.
But to that point, that's a common question in Discord and even on other Discords that I pay attention to. How do I improve? And I'm just going to lay it out here real quick. Grumpy's probably going to be happy I'm saying this out loud. Is he still here?
Maybe he got tired of it.
Oh, he's still here. Darn it. All right. Well, you're going to hear it, Grumpy. Ideally, the biggest impact you can make to your setup is getting your antenna up high enough that it clears all local obstacles, trees, rooftops, everything, your own roof. That is going to be the biggest impact. I know a lot of people focus on, can I get a better filter or LNA? You can do all that, but the biggest impact you can make is to get it high. Next thing is probably your feed line. Based on the length, are you running a sufficiently sized cable to reduce the signal loss from the antenna to your SDR. And that's just like deciding how high I can put the antenna. Obviously, I'm not going to put a 100-foot tower on top of my roof and try to put an antenna up there. Don't encourage me. But like, I can't do that. The same as, an LMR 600 or higher may not be financially the smartest thing for me to do for a long run. It may be super expensive. So you have to do it within your budget, but like getting things high and clear are going to be the best performance boost you can do. Once you got all that settled, then you can worry about the little bits like, is the SDR, if you're still running BYOD, is the SDR the one that I want to use, or do I want something else? Do I need a filter? Should I get an LNA? Should I put it at the head where the antenna is, or should I have it closer to the SDR? Like, all these things are optimizations after you do that. Having said that, Grumpy, just still going to say, sometimes you're limited by your environment. And if you have to have it in an attic, just know you're giving up probably 3 or more dB of signal, and live with it. And that's what I unfortunately do, but it is what it is. I just know that if I wanted to improve, the 2 things I could do is get the antenna up higher and clear and make sure that my feed line to that antenna is good quality. Sorry, awesome. I didn't want to go on a tangent, but that,
No, that's perfect. I really appreciate it, Mike. That's much better insight than I can give. Let's see where we are now. Are we at Goost?
Yes.
One station is near the airport. It's equipped with a DIY Coco antenna and rated blah, 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 but I cannot catch the layer ground. So, any suggestion? Mike, this is a Mike question.
Well, yeah. I mean, without knowing all the details, realistically, if you are near an airport, see, near is just a very, very ambiguous term. Like when you say, I know a lot of people say I'm near an airport, but they're actually like, 15 minutes away. It's like 20 miles or something. There's a difference between I'm within miles or kilometers of an airport and I have direct line of sight to the runway. So if you had direct line of sight to the runway, I would probably encourage people to make sure that they're running a lower dBi antenna. And there are 3 dBs out there. And if I was doing that, I might actually suggest that, just so you capture as much and as many messages that are airport specific. If you are 10 miles from an airport, 20 kilometers, 30 miles, whatever, just go with a normal 5 dBi. The donut effect is not going to really hurt you very much. If that antenna is actually 12 dBi without anything added to it, then obviously you have a very thin compressed donut. So you're probably giving up flights that are overhead within close proximity. I don't know. We could talk about it in regular Discord chat if you'd like to, under like hardware or something today.
Perfect. 910 drones. GUNet means NFT to first station index. Yeah, we know they do that. We haven't planned on doing that, at least not at this stage. But we never know.
Yep.
Sputty, when can we expect the devices from HD? HD, I assume you mean like Hifix or
Helium
one of the
Deploy.
resellers. Helium Deploy, okay. Based on what they're saying, I think they just have on their websites in January. So, I mean, I would say it's leaning towards like middle to end of last half of January. But I don't know. So I would just go based on what they have told us, and that's pretty much the same as they say on the website. Alpine, one more. In terms of coverage, I see some hexes that are over the ocean that have no rewards, even though I would anticipate the station's antenna is in range. Is this because there are no aircraft during the past week in the area? Yeah, so I mean, if over the ocean, if you're over the ocean, there's never an airplane. Like you can't capture any data, so then there will be no rewards. But yeah, I don't know. That's also like more specifics on what actual location, because I don't know. But if you don't capture any data, it'll be hard to reward anything because we don't have anything to go off. Good input from Grumpy. Thanks, Gordon. Near 4 kilometers. Yeah, so Goose, it really, if you can see, like if you can go up on your roof, for example, I don't know what your living situation is like, or if you have a balcony, if you can see the airport, that, I mean, you can be really far away from an airport as long as you have a clear line of sight to the airport and still capture the traffic. But I would open a ticket, honestly, and we can kind of, or ask in hardware channel or set up suggestions or something, and we can give more detail. Hey, Sana, yes, it is recorded, so no worries. You can listen after. And I guess we have about 5 more minutes.
Yeah, we haven't asked the question, although we did call someone out. Like, is anybody else new to these stages? We'd like to welcome you.
Sana, maybe. You know, I see the green symbol.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Very welcome. Awesome. Any other burning last minute questions?
I see typing. Furious typing. The recording will be the recording will be up on YouTube, Zana. As we discussed, this is we're trying this new format of doing the stage and the AMA together, and a status update for the project, and there'll be separate chapters. So hit our YouTube channel. We are Wingbits on YouTube. Like and subscribe. No, I'm just kidding. Although it couldn't hurt.
Yeah. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Me and Mike, our lifelong dream is to be YouTubers. So if you want to go in and just subscribe, you don't even ever have to watch. That'll be super appreciated. Let's see. 910 drones. Just a way to make sure top performing device instead of being screwed by others popping up. Yeah. So essentially, we're aiming to achieve the same with the new tokenomics model. And we'll have more explanations on the algorithm that we actually, our data scientists created a model based on an algorithm that can assign weights to different aspects of the network. And it can essentially identify really good providers, whether they're in lone or empty areas or saturated areas. And this is what we feel like will balance out the rewards really, really well. And I think it's going to be really nice.
Just to add to the answer there for 910 drones. So even the current tokenomics, the goal is we can't just have like one top performer that we're only concerned about. The network itself needs redundancy. The network itself needs multiple contacts for every message received. So in that vein, our current tokenomics have the ability and show that there's a bonus that are given to the top 5 contributors for each rewards hex. 5 is a good number for us. It's actually enough redundancy. It allows for things like MLAT. So that's where we have it right now. Obviously, Robin's saying or mentioning that we're doing other things going forward, but I just want to clarify that even right now, we are still kind of focused on making sure that top contributors end up getting rewarded better.
Yeah, exactly. Is there time limit for DIY stations being offline? So, I mean, in the light paper, and this has not been, we haven't actually implemented yet, there will be an uptime level that goes from 0 to 100. So for each day you start as a new contributor or participant after it's implemented, you start at 75, it takes you 25 days of online time to get to 100. If you're offline one day, you get -1. If that goes to 0, the thought was, okay, well, then you lose your area. Obviously, we understand, you know, if you end up in the hospital, something is really bad, like there's always like edge cases, please open a ticket. We're not unreasonable people. But we have to have some limit, so where people just don't claim an area, sit offline for 3 years, you know? So that's kind of the plan.
And we really have time for just one more because we're going to try to hold to this 1 hour thing.
Yeah. So Donnie, on your question, if they will be held until claimed or pushed daily, it's not set in stone yet, but probably first step, more likely to be manually claimed whenever you want. Last question, I guess. Yeah, we have 1 minute. Handsome Rob, what are these crazy drones all over the US East Coast about? You know what? We don't know. But the thing with these drones is that even if you have the drone receiver, these drones do not transmit their ID. So you would actually have to have a very different type of system to track these drones. You would literally have to have like a video, or I don't know, like a radar system for drones. I'm not sure. I don't know what they are, but I'm curious to find out what they are.
Yeah, I did see something like 910 Drones said. I saw a report yesterday evening talking about how a lot of it was attributed incorrectly to drones, that some of these are just valid aircraft and other stuff. So who knows? UFOs, they're all UFOs, man.
Yeah. Exactly. I actually have to go, so I'm gonna have to cut it. Yep. But Noel, since we don't have time to answer your question, please post it in Discord. We will help you. But I really appreciate everyone being here again. Mike, thanks for being here and helping me out with all these questions. Really looking forward to the next few weeks. Cool announcements coming out, and looking forward to the next stage.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
See you guys. Have a great one. Bye-bye.